Okay, so hi, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're playing more Wondering today, and yeah, we're hitting our first fellowship phase as we had a wonderful, long and dangerous journey into Moria for our first arc. But we're gonna do this fellowship phase. Before we get going, if you're watching this still, if you're liking what you're seeing, consider doing the whole subscribe, like, comment thing. If you're listening to this on one of the many thousands of podcast feeds that you have access to, consider dropping a review, all that kind of good stuff. And thus ends my call to action. Okay. Melissa says she hears a ton of audio noise. Is that me?
It might be. It was a bit of crackling.
It might be you.
I heard crackling.
You guys need to talk amongst yourself.
Okay.
Talking.
So I'm talking to myself, or I'm talking to you
Steven?
all? Like amongst yourself. That's a very confusing phrase.
Steven,
English is
give us a
confusing in
summary.
general.
We're talking to each other.
Summary. Okay, so we went into Moria, and
Okay.
Medwin was the hero of the entire journey, if you recall. There was a point where we were
I
in this
remember
vast
him
hall
being
of darkness.
Being
Oh,
broken.
hold on, I'm giving the summary here. You don't get to interrupt. And
We did nominate him for the
Hey.
summary. We should let him. we
I
let
should
him do
not
that.
have nominated Medwin the Boastful. I forgot. We didn't update the screen.
Whoopsies.
Too late for regrets. So we were in this vast hall. You can't even see the
Mhm.
ceiling, can't see the walls because it's just so dark and shadowy and just massive, which is incredible because it's underground. And you have to wonder about the engineering of it all. Medwin, of course, understands because he's a genius.
Of
But,
course.
Stephen, doesn't.
We're getting
quite
into
get
Mary
that
Sue
intellect.
territory.
It's not
Okay.
the dwarves that understand it because, it was dwarven. I think
No,
maybe
no.
this...
Well, that's like
side
lost
of the layout.
technology. It's lost to the dwarves, and we're
I
going
see.
back to reclaim
Okay.
it. This is the
Sure.
the age of dwarves is over. I think that's a line in Lord of the Rings somewhere. I watched the movie once. Anyways, Medwin saved the day, and we all got out happily ever after, thanks to Medwin. That's what you wanted, right? There.
No.
I mean, that was something that happened. We also came out, we were talking about treasure. Like we came out with lots of cool stuff. CALVAIN's got a book.
A
Is it any better?
really cool book.
Is it any better?
So far, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So far.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. Things just went crazy on me over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always
Just
as soon
got
as
a
he goes
book.
live, too.
We need
Yeah,
to
just as
cleanse
a-
your house, I think.
I don't know what it is. It's
House is
crazy.
haunted.
Super hot. Could be. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun thing. We'll see.
Hopefully they start paying
Yeah.
rent, because, third person in there.
That's true. We might get in trouble with the city or something, some kind of municipal tax or whatever. Okay. All right. So what were you guys doing? I wasn't really listening to you. Like, what should we do now? Are you
Steven
guys
was
done? Did we finish?
informing us
Go play
how
video games?
Medwin was the hero of everything that we did.
Yes.
And then we were talking about things that we came
Minutes.
out with, like books. I've got a cool mask and coins and
We
Definitely
need
cool
a
stuff.
new ranger friend.
Mm-hmm. You met a ranger. I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys befriended her. She definitely did not agree with you guys
No.
allowing a goblin to lead them out. But you met a ranger, that's for sure. Yeah, so you guys spent in total inside Moria, you spent about 3 days, but it was a much longer adventure arc because you had a lot of travel. Started back in Beorn's Hall, etc. We moved down the Anduin, went over to Gladden Fields, traveled across the West Nether Vales. We went into the Dimmerald Dale. We looked around a bit, and then eventually you started traversing in Moria, looking for Vidar, who is Sin's brother. So we picked up last time after you've been traveling for 3 days. All of you were very tired and fatigued, etc. Eventually started hearing orc voices after you hadn't really heard any in a few days since the fight inside of the second hall of Durin. CALVAIN, you scouted ahead. You got a little panicked at the sight of a series of decapitated heads that were on display, which was crazy, and that freaked you out a bit. The Fellowship found them and also ran into some goblin traps, but then you kind of snuck forward a bit. You kind of guys did a little stealthy action going on. You overheard some other orc business. You heard names like Beard Scorcher and Malik and Grimnar and Yaggle, whatever those means, you're not entirely sure. You bypassed this orc outpost. You found this smoky room where this figure named Beard Scorcher was torturing Vidar. You fought with Beard Scorcher. It was pretty rough, actually. It was kind of touch and go, as he was honestly kicking your asses 5-on-1, and somehow was still kind of kicking your asses, which is pretty impressive. But eventually, you guys did prevail. You recovered Vidar, who is like being roasted over a spit, basically. You got some treasure, which is very nice. And then you did find a ranger named Caravor. She was on the ledge of woe. She was imprisoned with some orcs and goblins that she had been tracking on the west side of the Misty Mountains. One goblin decided to turn on the others. There was a fun part where like you had told them, okay, we'll kill the other orcs. And they're like, okay, no hesitation, just pushed the other orcs off the ledge and became your scout, let you get out of Moria a little bit more quickly. And that's when you reunited with Null and you left the Dimroll Dale. So that's episode 6. And so this time around, we're gonna dive into the fellowship phase. And we're gonna do it our way. So we're gonna follow the rules. So we gotta set duration, destination. We gotta perform some updates. We gotta do some spiritual recovery, and then we gotta choose some undertakings. Now, duration, it's gonna be a while. Like this is gonna be about a year between when the start of the first adventure happened and when the start of the second adventure happens. It's gonna be quite a significant amount of time. We've already talked ahead of time about your destination. You guys are split, and that's fine. It's fellowship phase. We can be a little bit more loosey-goosey with travel. But you're split a little bit. The dwarves, I know, we're interested in heading back to Erebor. CALVAIN, you said you're interested in returning to the Woodland Realm, to the Halls of Thranduil. And then Medwin, I'm assuming you're returning home to the lands of the Beornings. So we're going to have like some split scenes here. And so what we do is for each investment of skill points or adventuring points that you all make, I want you're gonna kind of narrate a little scene for us. That kind of flavors maybe you applying that knowledge, learning that knowledge, contextualizing that knowledge, whatever it might be. And each of you are going to get like one scene per investment. So if you're like taking a point in 2 different skills, then you're going to get us 2 different scenes, and we'll kind of like rotate around so everyone will get a little scene to describe it. I can flesh a few things out. I can help you flesh a few things out if you want it, when it comes to some of the locales in which you're going to be doing your fellowship phase in. And then we'll kind of go on from there. In terms of the number of points that you have to invest, you have 16 skill points and 16 adventuring points. So for everyone who's listening, it's not like a 1-to-1 kind of cost. Like the higher up you go in terms of skill or proficiency level, the more expensive your next purchase is. So it takes more skill points to go from level 2 to level 3 than it does to go from level 1 to level 2, and it kind of continues to scale. The same thing is true with your skills and your combat proficiencies, and then you can also increase your valor or your wisdom if you choose to, if you have the adventuring points left over. What that does is that might give you access to do cultural virtues, or it might give you access to rewards depending upon which one of those that you increase. So, so I think that's what we'll do. Okay, so let's get a little kind of universal music going, and then we can start kind of navigating and jumping around this mix of stuff. Okay, so we'll say we see the Fellowship having returned to like Beorning's lands. We see them near the old ford, maybe by the that small like crossroads inn with Gilvira Potster. Maybe we see Caravor, excuse me, kind of go our separate ways, but you all do, or maybe linger for a bit. Maybe we see CALVAIN split off, following a more of an elvish woodland path. Maybe we see the dwarves take a more northerly route up and around Barkwood entirely, and kind of on their way back to Erebor. But we see the Fellowship split off, and then we kind of zoom out from there, and we look over top of all the Vale of Anduin, Mirkwood, and some of the mountains to the north and to the west, and we just kind of see like this time just starts to spin and spin. We see leaves, which were once bright green, start to yellow, turn orange, and fall. We see lands that maybe weren't covered with snow suddenly become covered with snow. We see the snow once again appear on the caps of the Misty Mountains and the Iron Mountains, and then we see it begin to dwindle as well as time is clearly passing. So let's start with Agda. So Agda, you and your 2 dwarven companions, plus Nal, plus Vidar, you're making this long venture back to Erebor. Do you want to give us, like, what's something maybe you're doing in your downtime, something you can share with us about what you've advanced, introduce us to something that you do back in your hometown, so to speak, anything like that.
Yeah, so one of the things that would have happened kind of while the group of dwarves were kind of traveling back through Beorning lands is she would have picked up kind of a number of Beorning honey cakes to kind of bring back and share with her dwarf family. And so you see kind of, this is a montage over the time that we're back in Erebor, that you see this group of, this family. There's a lot of family that gets together, and there's this particular group of 3 of her aunts and uncles that like to kind of sit around in the evenings and kind of drink and eat these honey cakes. And so you see it's uncles Jaunty and Jesty and Aunt Jekty. And they are the ones who pride themselves on having the best hearing of all of the clans put together, that they can hear the best. And so what you see is Agda kind of donning all of her gear and trying to like walk down the hall as they're kind of telling their stories in the evening. And at first they just sort of like turn around and look at her, and they're just like, "What are you doing? Why are you making so much noise?" And she's like, "Oh, my apologies, don't mind me. And you see over time that she's sort of like readjusting everything that she had. So used to sort of have her shield slung on her back and her axe slung on her back, but you just see her sort of like making a belt loop to kind of drop her axe into, and you see that she's asked her sister to kind of make her a thicker cloak. And so what she's trying to do is be more stealthy. So over the time, you see her kind of continuing to try to kind of walk by these 3 as they're telling their stories and eating their cakes and drinking their drinks. And over the course of the months, Uncle Jaunty is the one that sort of has the best hearing. And over time, the 3 of them hear, and then just 2 of them hear, and then it's just Uncle Jaunty. And then you just see this like big grin on her face the one night when she's finally able to she's laid her step, she's readjusted her packs and everything to where she can just sneak right by them and they don't hear her footfalls at all. So I increased my stealth from
That
1
makes
pip
sense.
to 2 pips.
Okay. And clearly the experience you had sneaking past the orc outpost by the Ledge of Woe had to have come into play there, right? Had to, because you guys did that so professionally. Okay.
And she knew that she's going to need to be better at this in the future.
Sure. Okay. Fantastic. We'll come around and see if you have any more later. We're going to turn it over to Medwin. Medwin, what do you think you do after the Fellowship kind of splits part ways, goes their different directions?
Yeah, so Medwin does return home. He lives in a... it's not necessarily a village, but there's like a group of houses that are fairly well clustered together. And he just finds himself... it's a place of sanctuary for him. It's a very peaceful place that he enjoys returning to. And he does have his own hut. It's just a wattle and daub hut, so like the clay walls and then thatched roof and everything. And he doesn't keep bees, but there are several beehives around, so you constantly hear buzzing, and there are like flower gardens in front of most of these houses. He returns to his hut, and the garden is looking worse than it did before he left, because he's been gone so long. But at the same time, it's not awful. Like, someone has come by and weeded it occasionally, likely his mother. He still has a bit of a close relationship with her. But the first thing he does when he gets home is that he takes this spear that he got from Beard Scorcher, and he goes in the house and he breaks this spear shaft over his knee, and he just plants the top, like the brazier part, the tip of the spear, in his fireplace as a sort of like cooking spit. And he just like gives himself a little smile that he has this trophy, like this sign of victory over Moria, and now it will be a useful tool in his life. And he starts a little fire there just to, get the place nice and cozy. And then he turns towards his gear that he's kind of neglected over this trip, especially the bow that he has, that he only used a couple times, but when he was so hurt and injured, he knew that he should have been using a bow more often. He should have been like off the front lines. And he starts really polishing it, and he spends the next couple weeks creating a new string for his bow. And that's my first thing that I'm doing. I'm increasing my valor to upgrade my bow.
Okay, fantastic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you have a name?
I'm upgrading my bow skill, my combat proficiency with it.
Gotcha.
Not
Okay.
valor, sorry.
Do you have a name for your mom?
Yes, I do. It's Hildwara. I'll put it in the chat for the spelling.
Okay. All right. So I put a note that Hildwara comes and tends to your garden while you're away. Such a mama's boy. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Fantastic. We're gonna go into the bottom row. We're gonna go to Sin. What do you think Sin does in the early days and weeks after the Fellowship part ways, and you start returning to Erebor, or when you get back to Erebor?
She's very keen on spending as much time with Vidar as he will let her, and she realizes that the best way to spend time with him is to go to work with him. So she spends a lot of time at the forge with him, and now specifically one of the things he's been doing is making different weapons and that kind of thing. So what I would like to do is take my axe proficiency up, and I think the way she's doing it is in spending time with Vidar, she's helping him test different weapons. Like, she's helping test different weights, different like thrown axes, different swings, and all that stuff.
Okay.
In service of spending time with him.
I think Vidar is probably appreciative of that to a degree. Like he was horribly scarred from his time, both emotionally but also physically. Like his beard was burnt away, and he's kind of left with these scars. And so over the time, you can see his beard does grow back, but it grows back in patches. Like there are sections of his jawline that aren't regrowing anymore. So you see this kind of very awkward looking beard that begins to grow over time. You also notice that there's definitely a closeness between him and Null. Like you can tell Null probably is nursing some guilt over what befell him. And so in the time in which that you've known Null, she's always been very curmudgeonly and very she is the smartest person in the room, and honestly, when it comes to smithing, she probably is. But she doesn't waste an opportunity to remind someone of that. But that's happening less and less, and it almost seems like she's actually growing more and more encouraging of Vidar over the weeks and the weeks that you spent observing them. There is still conversation though about Moria, though, given the state of Vidar and what had happened during the first adventuring phase, it doesn't seem like there is like any kind of immediate moves to do it. But you also know that Null's getting older, and there's only so much time she has left, as her hair has started to turn white, which is usually like a sign of greater age when it comes to dwarves. Okay, we'll move over to another dwarf. What about EDDA? What do you think EDDA does as the Fellowship breaks apart and heads their separate ways?
So one of the things that she does is she does increase her wisdom. And specifically, I think the one I wanted to take with that was the one that grants you the ability to make two things favored. So one of the ones that she does, I turn favored, is my craft skill. So in doing so, to improve that, since she has that locking mechanism that she found, she brings that to Nal and Vidar, and it kind of leads her into a deep dive of studying this type of architecture, or how this engineering works in it, and locking, and how can she improve upon this and make it even better, and just kind of tinkering around with Nal and learning as much as she can, to really get a better grasp of when we do go back to Moria, because that is a conversation we've been having, so she can better identify things that would be useful, that we would want to bring back, and very much just preparing and prepping.
The locking mechanism specifically is kind of an interesting path to dig into, as like Nal will be able to tell you, and other dwarves, maybe even some dwarves, maybe some vault keepers and such might even be able to explain this, that it's not uncommon for dwarves treasure to be hidden behind doors or vaults that have very intricate locking mechanisms. And even here in Erebor, down maybe where your family vault might be held, like whether that's down, and I think it's called like Standguard, is like the lower halls, like the subterranean homes and such, or even if you were to kind of head to the chamber of like Mazarbul under like Erebor, like this great library and archive, there are places where similar locking mechanisms are already in play. And so it's definitely, you have this kind of early iteration of some of those designs, which over time has been not necessarily improved upon, in fact, but just in some cases maybe complicated. But yours nonetheless seems to be very effective. So it is something you start to see more and more of, like as you look past and you kind of travel to your various vaults and things. But okay. And then finally, we're going to come to old CALVAIN. CALVAIN, where do you head off to, Mr. Brooding Elf?
I make my way back to the Mirkwood, the halls of the elves, and recoup there. So pretty much the shadow has increased in the Mirkwood over time. And in the recent journeys, I've learned that we're able to fight back against the wargs we encounter, the orcs, they can be defeated. So I'm able to spread this knowledge with the elves, and we're able to exploit the darkness that the Mirkwood offers. We can work ambush points, help the scouts move in paths that see if the shadow gets any closer. So that's how I send my aid back, and that'll be increasing my wisdom.
Okay.
So I'll gain a new cultural virtue.
Do you think that you are free with the knowledge that you have been to Moria? Like, is that something that you are sharing without reservation?
Yeah, this is pretty much a great discovery. No elves really gone far enough, gone into Moria much, and bring this knowledge back. It's helped them greatly.
If that is the case, then that does become a very interesting conversation point around the halls of Thranduil. Like, maybe not so much rising to his interest just yet, but definitely there are elves within the Mirkwood who are of an age that Moria was in existence, right? Moria, even going back to the Second Age, there's elves that are thousands of years old. So you can, like, you're definitely hearing, like, there's definitely interest to see what has befallen the dwarves of that time. And there might even be people within the Woodland Realm who have experience or connections to some of the elves of Eregion before it fell, as they were friends with the dwarves of Moria and such. So, like, you're definitely you're bringing up stories of a time in which many of the older elves in the hall here are haven't shared those stories in quite some time, and so there's like both a melancholy, which is not uncommon obviously for elves, but there's also like a great curiosity as like they're revisiting experiences of an age ago. So it does become the talk, and it starts to move around from elf to elf. Okay, let's go back around again. Let's go back to Agda. Again, you can set these scenes anytime you want. I'm following your lead, so if there's something you want from me, you just let me know. But otherwise, in addition to like your fun little scene with your family, what do you think over the months and over the seasons Agda also is trying to accomplish, or doing, or poking around, or investigating, or talking to? What do you think you're doing?
I would say the second thing that she is doing, it was very by turns quiet in Moria, and that was actually sort of like unsettling. There's sort of a loudness to dwarves and lots of dwarves being together, and just sort of all of the clanging and the singing, and all of those things are just day-to-day noises that sort of bring comfort. And Agda didn't really ever pay attention to try to kind of differentiate those sounds from each other. But if you're sort of watching her, you just sort of notice as she's moving about that she's just sort of listening a little bit more. Perhaps you might say be more aware of kind of her surroundings. So at first it's just sort of like taking in the comfort of home kind of a thing. And then over time she's listening. And so you'll kind of see that as she hears footfalls around, she's starting to distinguish between her aunt Jekti and her mother Halda. And she even, some of her younger cousins, the twins, Una and Udna, she is learning to kind of differentiate, and she'll, kind of come around the corner and, kind of like guess which one it was. And, they're impressed that she's like getting it right. And so that's sort of her increasing her awareness from 0 to 1 pip.
Very nice. Maybe I might be so bold. Maybe you even visit the Great Chamber of Thror, which is kind of like the political heart of Erebor. It's like a feast hall, it's a throne room, it's a council chamber, and like eavesdropping on various conversations here and there, conversations of some seriousness, some not so serious, but and like you can even see from afar like your King Dane and such. And you can see other well-known dwarves, Bromber and Balin and stuff here and there, or Bomber, excuse me. And like in his large size, kind of bringing the attention of many dwarves. The remnants of some of Thorin's company and such, kind of gathering back once more. So you can kind of like listen in as they tell tales of their own adventures. Something about a hobbit. And then we turn back to Medwin, back in the lands of the Beornings. What else do you think Medwin has been doing in the time between adventures?
So Medwin, despite the vastness of certain parts of Moria, it still felt claustrophobic because of the darkness and then the closed spaces that you would travel through, like some of the halls. And he's really taken an appreciation for the outdoors because of that. So he's been spending much of his time hunting. He's going out with his bow that he has repaired, that he's becoming more and more skilled with, and he is looking just for all sorts of game. And he's not necessarily doing it for like trophy hunting. It is subsistence. Everything he hunts is going to be used. It's going to be either eaten by him or eaten by neighbors or in his family and things like that. But it's become like his favorite pastime. Whenever he just wants to blow off some steam, he goes for a hunt and he returns back to his hut for a feast. When he comes back to his hut, we see that there are like all sorts of like rabbit hides that are like stretched out and like hanging from the rafters. that he's been turning into like various bits of clothing and like mittens and things like that, preparing for winter, stitching some of them together to create like a cloak, and just all sorts of various animal products. But he does process one of these rabbits and then just slam it onto his new cooking spit, and it just like he's gotten it to the point where you can just spike it on there, and then just slowly rotate it over the fire. And he knows how to cook a rabbit perfectly now. So I am increasing my hunting skill.
Okay. Do you think anyone joins you on your hunts, or do you think they're solo?
I would say that occasionally someone joins, not who actually offers much for the hunt, but Medwin would be teaching them. His nephew, Ingund. Again, I'll put that in there.
Okay.
I'm taking these from the Beorning names, so I don't necessarily know how to pronounce them that well. But Ingund is his brother's son, and Medwin doesn't have any children of his own. He doesn't have a partner, but he does enjoy teaching children these new skills and things like that. So whenever Ingund can get away from his chores and things like that, Medwin takes him hunting with him.
Okay. Good. Well, that's gonna be fun because you guys met an Inglud. Now there's an Ingud.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to write out
Nice.
England because I'm taking priority here.
Okay. We'll see. Okay. Bottom. Sin. What else does Sin do? What else does she get up to back at the Lonely Mountain, which is not so lonely anymore, as there's many dwarves here.
I think I wanna bump up my wisdom, and I think how it manifests is the time she's spending with Vidar. She, like, her beard is glorious, and she's incredibly vain about it. Like, she puts flowers in it, she puts beard oil and braids it, and she's very particular about how beautiful that beard looks. Any other moment, she would have made relentless fun of her brother for not being able to grow beard as a dwarf but she's thinking about like the trauma that actually caused it, so she's not as reckless as she may have been even just a couple of weeks ago. And she is trying to be a little better. And I think that's how the wisdom manifests, is there just is a little bit more maturity in her because
Okay.
of the time spent.
Okay. And don't forget that you'll get, if you're upping your wisdom, you get a new cultural virtue. So you can, if you don't know which one you want, just scan through them. You can always make your choice later.
I was
but
gonna
this one
ask
benefits.
if I might tell you later because I haven't
Yes,
decided.
that's totally fine. Yeah, totally fine. Okay. All right.
The other piece of housekeeping I was hoping you could help me with because my hands are being jerked.
Sure.
But I fucked up my sheet and I need to remove 3 pips from access. Because it should be at 3, but it's all the way up right now because I tried to remove it and then just added more.
Yeah, no problem. We can fix that. Easy enough. Okay.
Thanks. That's it.
All right. So we're gonna keep going to another dwarf. We're gonna go back to EDDA. What else is EDDA up to these days in these months between adventures?
Edda's still a little held up on some close calls that we had. Specifically, instances where she feels like if she had just noticed something a little bit sooner, that perhaps we could have avoided a fight that we had, like when we got ambushed in that great room. Additionally, when we were following towards the Warg burrow or den, if only we had gotten there just a little bit sooner, we could have saved the other person who got attacked. And it manifests in, she has made it a game to just try and notice as quickly and efficiently anything out of place. So it happens in a few different ways. She has Agda. She gives her the task of, hey, in our room, if you could occasionally try and move something around and let me know if I notice it or not, I'll come and I'll ask you. Additionally, it's as she's going around and she's learning of these locks, she's kind of trying to discover if she can, as quickly and efficiently as possible, identify what type of lock it is, what would be the best method to unlock this lock. Oh, is there blood there? What type of blood is that? In the kitchens, like, what did my mom cook, or what did mom cook this evening? Kind of stuff like that. And she's just kind of been all over the place, probably also driving Nal a little insane, being down there bothering Vidar, because she's also concerned of his trauma that he's endured from his torture, and then it compounded with the loss of his wife. That she's worried that the dark thoughts of what we encountered might linger heavily upon him.
Yeah, one thing you learn over the months in which this time is kind of transpiring, like, there's definitely certainly a bond between Nal and Vidar, as I've mentioned. Nal kind of like a mentor-mentee kind of thing. Like, it feels like Nal, knowing she's at the end of her life, is like passing down as much as she can, cramming it into Vidar's brain, and he's like scooping all of that up. But it's not just that; it's that the two of them are also somewhat trauma bonded in some ways, as they have kind of similar stories. Like, she tells a story of how her husband was killed. Like, he was in the war of orcs and dwarves, long before the battle of Azanzubulzar. I can never get that right. But like, he was killed, like, just kind of cleaning out tunnels as they were moving down from, like, scourging the Misty Mountains with his king, and kind of going into the goblin tunnels, and how, she lost him, but she still had to work. She still had to outfit the dwarven forces, and she still had to make the armors, and she still had to maintain weapons, and how it was only through work that she actually she found purpose, and she didn't get kind of lost in this darkness. And it's like she keeps drilling that home to Vidar as well, not just here's how you make this and here how you make that, but how there is purpose, there is identity, and there is salvation, and the idea of work. And not only that, but craft, like the creation of things, of legacy, of art. And so that is something that you certainly witness over time. And Vidar is no doubt improving, like, his skill. He was always a very excellent smith, but a young smith by all accounts. But you can see this tutelage he's certainly benefiting from. Okay, let's keep it moving. Let's go over to CALVAIN. What else does CALVAIN do in his time?
Going over the events of our latest journey, seeing how many injured we came across, even Medwin himself, got me thinking of my sister, because she's the healer between us. It reminded me how much bit inadequate I was trying to aid the injuries of others. So it makes me wonder if she ever returned at all in her journeys, if she's left me behind. I'll go through some of her books, her journal entries of what herbs, the processes of blending. I was more like brooding, just really forcing the herbs together, not blending them correctly. Maybe even make my way out to the Beornings to help out with Grimhild, which I could have helped out more. In the settlement of man and aid there to increase my healing another bit.
Yeah. Or it even could have been something you did before you ventured to Mirkwood. We can go out of order. But Grimhild, if you all recall, was one of the two young thanes that you all rescued from the Warren of Wargs in the Gladden Fields. Unfortunately, the other Baron did not survive, although you were able to return his body, at the very least. You had asked Inglid, son of Ingemar, the woodland of the woodman town, to return return her safely to Beorning Lands while you all pushed on to Moria. So if you do check in on her, whenever it might be, you do find that she is scarred, angry. You can definitely tell. She's young, but she's not a child. You know, she's like 17, 18, 19 in that range. So there's a headstrongness to her. And her main injuries from the physical injuries, the one that you're capable of healing, like there's definitely a foulness, an infection to them. And there are times in which you think you might have to kind of lance or clean or cleave certain fingers, and in that she might lose the ability to use a certain portion. But through some of these advancements that you're able to find, you're able to kind of beat back whatever the infection is. That warg saliva, while not like a goblin poison, in some ways, if it's left to fester for a long time and not cleaned out, could actually function even worse in some ways than a goblin poison. And she had been gone. She had been treated for some time. And the Beornings did their best, of course, but nothing compares to elvish medicine, right? And so, yeah, you were able to check in on her. She's, you find her to be, again, very headstrong. And more than once, she floats the idea of getting back out and like scourging the lands of wargs, like taking all of this out on them. And so like you can definitely tell that she has an impatience, a desire, like a bloodlust to take this out on others. But Beorn himself makes sure that she doesn't do, at least not until she is fully healed. And so you're able to, over weeks and months, help repair some of the damage and then rehabilitate some of maybe what she lost from the injuries. Okay. Let's keep moving. Agda, is there anything more? I know we've gone 2 rounds. Do you have something more that you did?
I do. So this is the last thing that I've got. So I'll sort of tell you what it is, and maybe we can kind of work together on kind of what this looks like. So I am spending adventuring points to increase wisdom. And so what I did with that is, since we are specifically dwarves of Belagost, so kind of in that dwarves of Belagost and Nagra, there are specific cultural virtues that are different from sort of the core rulebook cultural virtues for dwarves. And so the one that I picked is called Ancient Fire, which lets you increase your max endurance by 1 and reduce endurance lost from cold fire or poison by 1 level. But I am increasing wisdom with this. So I was kind of thinking maybe something along the lines of like, she is deep into kind of like dwarven like vault areas. And so it's like hot, underground, and she's just not resting. So like she enjoys knowing things, and now this has sort of become a necessity of learning things, knowing things. And so she's kind of like talking to whoever she can and reading anything she can, and you know, just kind of like reviewing what we've seen, what we know, what we've found, and just kind of trying to increase her wisdom. And then like through the course of doing that, she's just like wearing herself out in this just sort of like obsessive need to learn even more about kind of dwarven history.
So you would know that in Khazad-dûm, there was a renowned records chamber, library, archive, vault called the Chamber of Mazarbul. Long lost, long not been visited. But in Erebor, there is one built in its honor, perhaps even named similarly as a way. And so maybe that's where you're spending time. Maybe it's also the same place what we saw EDDA when she was learning more and more about locks. Is there certain archives and wings of this chamber that are held off from like public view? It's not that dwarves can't visit their the archives and the artifacts of their lineage. They certainly can. It's just they need to do so, under supervision. to ensure that things aren't broken or stolen or lost in any particular way. And so there's a lot of these like old, dusty dwarven scholars that you're finding yourself running into periodically over the course of your time. Maybe they're partly directing some of your studies, and you're able to like learn a little bit from them about dwarven history, about the way in which dwarves collate and organize some of their histories, the carvings, the tablets, the writings, and then just the craftsmanship too. And even digging through like old Kudzel and like kind of learning, becoming more fluent and more capable of that private dwarven language. Okay. Excellent. Let's keep it moving. Let's go over to Medwin. Is there anything more that Medwin does during these wonderful months?
So they've been pleasant, calming, relaxing months, but tragedy befalls Medwin. As he's been hunting and feasting, there's one day where he drank a little bit too much after a hunt. He was feasting a little too much on this rabbit that made a very fine stew, and he just fell asleep a bit heavier than he normally would. And maybe there was a bit of shadow still tainting the spear that he's been using as a cooking spit, as that like brazier tip just lit maybe it was the grease from the rabbit or something else, but sparks just started flying out of his cooking fire onto the thresh floor, which quickly started to burn, and Medwin continued to sleep through it until it became bigger and bigger, and all these furs that he had hanging, everything that he like had been crafting, like there's just all sorts of material that's very flammable lying around, and he just drank too much mead and didn't notice soon enough. As the fire got bigger and bigger, it wasn't until his bed caught on fire that he woke up, as the heat started burning him as well. He jumped up and just immediately bolted out of the door. His shirt on fire, his hair on fire. It started rolling around to put it out and everything, but it was too late to save his house that he had been, upgrading and putting so much work into over the year. And he also lost all his hair as well, as it just burned off entirely. There is a good side to this, though.
Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
His doting mother, Hildwara, has taken him in, and he now lives with her in her hut, just like 2 huts down, not that far away. And he's been spending more time with her, which is always nice. And she's taught him the secret of twice-baked honey cakes as they've been cooking together. So I'm increasing my wisdom and taking a cultural virtue where I know how to bake because I live with my mom now.
You found an in-universe reason to no longer wear the ridiculously hot wig that you don't like to wear.
I didn't plan it, Jeff. It was just, coincidence.
Uh-huh.
Might I make one addition to what you've narrated
Absolutely.
here? When you were in such a deep slumber, might I suggest that some of the dreams, nightmares that you were having involved columns of black smoke, much like in Beard Scorch's chamber, and these beady, bright embers burning in them, the laughter of Beard Scorcher as well. And you were just kind of transfixed, constantly swinging and reaching and looking for the enemy within the smoke and never quite able to find. And maybe that is what kind of kept you in. And then you awoke to the smoke itself. Okay. All right. Let's continue on. Let's check back in with Sin. Sin, is there anything more that you think you would be doing in your time between adventures here?
My last thing is I would like to go from 0 to 1 pip in Hearten, and I think it's as simple as her just kind of doing her minstrel work as messenger in taverns, and really refining the Moria story to like know when to have dramatic pauses and know when to like leave room for applause and then gasps and that kind of thing. So it's just refining that story through her minstrel work.
Okay, this could be, maybe we see like a montage of you performing. We see some maybe in Standguard within Erebor itself. Maybe we see you even in some of the taverns of Dale, you know, down a little bit further away. And we just kind of see you performing not just for your dwarven kinfolk, but also for the men of Dale. And in this, like, as you go on a small little musical tour along the
Hell yes!
eastern side of the Mirkwood, south and up, south and north and back home again.
Amazing.
Okay. And what about EDDA? What more does EDDA want to accomplish?
So, at some point in time, EDDA links back up with Ingled. The one who took Grimhild back to the Beorning. So maybe that's where
Maybe it's one of the first things you do. Maybe when you return. Yeah, when you return back. This is like maybe before you go back to Erebor.
Yes, yeah. She does meet up with him, and they do travel for a while. She's increasing her travel skill. So she spends this time with him just kind of learning any tricks of the trade that he has, as well as just kind of emotionally comforting each other, because she was concerned with how they left off and how he seemed so morose. And additionally, I believe he used bows, correct?
He has bows, but he also has axes.
So she does reach out to him for some bow practices.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they do is a strength training exercise, where usually I see it done with like hammers and stuff, but where they're just kind of swinging like they're really heavy axes, increasing their arm strength so that they can increase their draw strength, so that she can tighten her bow and potentially, shoot better, more difficult targets. And so there's just like a training montage of them in the forest just doing cool shit.
It's Rocky IV.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Punching
Just
trees.
moving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
carrying logs, running.
If you spend
natural
time
born
with him,
creatures.
yeah, if you spend time with him, he'll open up a little bit. He's still very guarded, but he will tell you some things. That his father is chieftain of the woodland people, much like Beorn is of the Beornings. And his father is ill, and he is expected to perhaps one day to rise to the level of chieftain. But you also know that he has there's kind of like a darkness to him to some degree, or sadness to him. I don't want to say he's necessarily dark, but he is certainly sad, and he might even reveal bits and pieces about the story of his brother, Ingold. And I know we have a lot of ING names now, but that is in fact his name. And how, he'll take you to the eaves, the western eaves of the Mirkwood, and maybe he'll talk a little bit about how when they were young, he and his brother used to move about the western eaves. This is where they learned to hunt. This is where they learned. This is where they learned to their herbalist skills, and this is where they used to play. And it's also where Ingold went missing, or was taken and never seen again. And that is something that has kind of haunted him ever since. And so And it's why that story of like Vidar going missing, being taken, seemed to get his attention, and why he was so willing to help you all, because he saw something of himself in his own story and what you all, specifically Sin and Vidar, were facing. So yeah, he'll share little bits and pieces of that with him, and he'll also invite you down to Vudaseld, or Woodland Hall, which is as it's more commonly known, at some point, in the future, if you're interested in seeing where he's from.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. Then we come back to CALVAIN. What more is CALVAIN doing on this fellowship phase?
I'll be saving my adventuring 8 points and 4 skill points, so no advances further. So I'll be spending most of my time just gauging the strength of the shallow upon the Mirkwood and reading upon books, just getting knowledge.
Okay. Does anyone have any additional advancements they were looking to narrate? Okay, we'll go back to Edda, and then we'll come back to CALVAIN shortly for something I'll add on to that. But let's come back to Edda. So you said you had another advancement scene that you wanted to
So not
describe
so
here?
much a scene, I guess, but I did advance my stealth skill. So maybe that's something that just kind of worked in with a montage with Ingold.
Yeah.
Or England.
Yeah, as like the two of you maybe tracking various deer or other, or other creatures here and there. It could even just could be deer. It could be like tracking a warg, a stray warg, or avoiding like a spider that seems to have come from the deeper recesses of Mirkwood all the way to the eaves. The eaves are like the westernmost parts of the forest. The woodmen don't venture further in. That is the realm of darkness. That is the realm of the elves. So it is not something that they do. And they also veer towards the southern side of, like, south of where the Beornings are, or south of the old ford. Okay, so we're going to come back to CALVAIN in a minute. So let's just go through these things one at a time. We've done our perform updates. Let's go back to spiritual recovery. So many of you have spent time with friends and family. And in addition to gaining some of your skills, gaining new skills, gaining new wisdom, tapping into your cultural virtues, or improving your weaponry or your armor, you also feel more hope. And so each of you can recover, you can gain back hope equal to your heart score.
Get a whole 2.
Attaboy. You really are such a moody little elf. We gotta next time we play this, someone's gotta play like a super happy-go-lucky elf. You know?
Is that even possible with the stat spread?
That's fair. We have to go through all the different variations, because there's a couple different variations of elves that you can play. Lorien, and maybe the Goldenwood elves are a little bit less moody than Mirkwood elves. I'm not sure of the stats.
Back up to 10 hope.
Me
The
too.
other thing you can do, very nice. The other thing you do is the shadow wears a little bit on you. So the lore master decides between 1 and 3, depending upon how much you interfered with the machinations of the shadow. You guys get the minimum of 1. You took out a minor lieutenant, but that is something. It's not nothing. So you all can remove 1 point of shadow.
If you still have temporary shadow, if you took a shadow scar, then you're stuck with the shadow scar unless you do something officially with that. She says
Which is
she
only
has 0
during
temporary.
Okay.
Yeah.
The shadow scar stuff. Okay. And actually, I'm going to say, Medwin, you can actually remove a second. And the reason is because you spent time within the Beornings near Beorn. And I know that you guys are effectively using him as a patron. And one of his benefits is that you get +1 shadow removal if you spent fellowship phase with him. And so because you've been in Beorning's halls, or near him, or Beorn's halls, this would count. Okay.
Nice.
Awesome.
I had 0 temporary because I took a shadow scar. So
Yeah.
I get to remove 2 from 0.
Okay. That's shame.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember this now from last time we played, of like kind of the timing of like it gets really
Gotta time
high,
it right.
really high, and then
If you end an adventuring phase with it too high, you're done. You're retired. You're gone. You're running off into the wilds or something, or turning to banditry. Okay. So then the next thing we get into is we're undertakings. This is not a Yule Fellowship phase. So basically you guys are going to get one undertaking that you have to agree upon from the full list, right? Except for the Yule onlys. And then one from your specific list that are for your callings. So your callings, the five of your callings, you can get gather rumors, meet patron, ponder stories, storied and figured maps, study magical items, or write a song. Those are the ones based upon the callings that you all have. And so you guys basically get 2 undertakings. I know you've talked about this and we've all talked about this. So we're going to do, I think we want to do like gather rumors, so to speak, because we wanted to study that book, right? The Journal of the Dwarven Scholar. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So let's then focus in a bit on CALVAIN. And let's say, like, as we zoom in on CALVAIN, somewhere within the woodland realm, and the peaceful serenity, but also there's like a melancholy that pervades Thranduil's elven kingdom. But we're not specifically within his halls. We're close. We're close. We are a few days northward from there, along the elf path, and maybe we find CALVAIN as he is walking up towards what looks like some kind of dark wood and leaf cottage that seems to be hidden or nestled within the undergrowth of the dark Mirkwood. And we see hanging from various like bows and eaves, we see a handful of these orbs, these lights, and there is this beautiful glow, this ambiance of this cottage, which without it would just be easy enough to miss. But the lights themselves give this kind of like an ethereal glow. And when we see CALVAIN kind of knocking on the door, very, very, very politely, and then the door opening up, we see an elf open it. An elf that CALVAIN you would know as Ormal, specifically Ormal the Lamp Maker. He is an elf of some age. You would know that he is one of the older elves within Thranduil's kingdom, and that he has not always lived underneath the rule of Thranduil. He has lived elsewhere. And as you were sharing stories of your time in Moria, and as you were hearing from other elves share some of their stories, a name that kept coming up was Ormal, for he himself spent time in Eregion before its fall. And so, if anyone could help you, sort of read through some of this journal that you have found, it would be him. And so, like, he invites you in. He's got kind of long hair that is dark as dark can be. You notice that he is his cottage is very sparse, but it is filled with all sorts of pieces of crystal and other types of things that he most likely has collected from within the Mirkwood. So it could be stones, it could be leaves, and you can see that he is frequently playing around with different ways of shaping these lights, these lamps. And these very things decorate all throughout the halls of Thranduil. You can see these things everywhere. But he gestures, he lets you inside. You present this book to him, and you tell him a little bit of how you found it and what you have read of it. And so, to remind everybody, the book itself, it is written in Elvish, it's written in Sindarin, but it is written in a very, to call it a kind of a sloppy hand, the penmanship is certainly blocky and crude, but also the grammar, the word choice, the syntax, all of that, it's clearly written by somebody who is not fluent or accustomed to, somebody who is learning that language. And as the journal progresses, CALVAIN, it does improve over time, but it never quite takes on the elegance of the types of scrolls that you yourself have read. And what you're able to learn as you read it and as you kind of share some of this information with Ormal is you learn that the writer's name was a dwarf scholar of West Moria by the name of Thurn. And that while not all of the entries were specifically written as letters, many of them were. In fact, it actually looks like much of the parchment that the script has been written on is mismatched, and it was bound in such a way, in a kind of a crude way. But it does seem like he was writing to an elf of Eregion by the name of Damor. And when you read through it, you definitely get this sense, at least in the early pages, of friendship, of optimism, of hope. But as the pages continue, there is a great sadness that hits. And some of these entries are dated, and it's definitely Second Age, and it's around 1700, which aligns with the fall of Eregion, when they start to venture further and further into sadness and loss. And there definitely seems to be recognition in the eyes of Ormal as the two of you are kind of poring over this text. And he's telling you a little bit about it. But there's two things that you might be able to learn from it. And CALVAIN, you tell me, what might CALVAIN want to focus on? Do you want to hear more about the earlier days when the pages about the friendship of elves and dwarves and how the halls of Moria opened their doors to the elves? Or do you want to focus your studies more on the latter pages of darkness and despair? What do you think, CALVAIN?
Let's go with the earlier days, because I've never heard of elves and dwarves getting along so well. It's usually stories of war and even betrayals.
And if you even vocalize that, like Ormal will not chuckle, but you will definitely see there is a small crease on the side of his mouth. And he'll say, "I forget sometimes how young you are, CALVAIN, and how much there is for you to learn still. The time of Ostertil and the time of Eregion, now Holland, elves and dwarves. We were brothers, sisters, not kin, but close. And there was a bond formed over craft, over creation, works of Celebrimbor and Navi. But even those within their circles, those perhaps who never quite achieved their greatness, their notoriety, they too found friendship together." And he'll recount stories of his own time there, and while he didn't necessarily stay there for long, he did study. And anytime you kind of push him or question his own personal, he recoils, and you can tell that's a pain point for him. But he will certainly start telling you about the mountain galleries of Khazad-dûm. And much of this conversation probably stems from some entries that you find, where it describes whenever Damor and some of the other elves came to Khazad-dûm, there were sections in Khazad-dûm that were specifically crafted and decorated in a way to make them more welcoming to elves. And specifically, it talks about how it wasn't just delving deep into the mountain, it was going up the mountain as well, which is what Khazad-dûm was known for. While The king and the mines and the deeps continued to push to find Mithril. The queen and others pushed upward towards the sky, high into the uppermost levels, and there used to be grand walkways and terraces that overlooked the valley, the Dimril Dale itself, and even out west in the direction of Holland. And there was always one specific gallery that was kept intact by order of the king, and it was a guest hall for elves, and it was decorated with living trees and views of the stars. And what you get is you get a series of stories and tales of Thurin going to visit his friend there, and maybe even stories about how he and some of the other dwarves work so hard to maintain the beauty of those galleries, and how different those specific locales were from some of the darker, more fiery forges and rooms that people are more accustomed to when they think of Moria and Khazad-dûm. So yeah, you guys are going to get, mechanically speaking, what you guys are effectively getting is you're getting a rumor about a location within Moria, which means down the line, if you ever decide to want to look for these things, like I said, it as a delve destination, you potentially could go searching for this stuff. So
Yay!
yeah, so it's the mountain galleries. They were the uppermost levels of Khazad-dûm. They are high on the mountain above the Dimril Dale. They were abandoned by dwarves long ago, but specifically within those galleries, there was kind of like that guest hall for elves.
Yes.
Very cool.
Do you think, would CALVAIN want to ask any follow-up questions or clarifying questions of Ramal? I don't want to steamroll the scene. If there's something you wanted to ask of him, you're welcome to.
If he's ever been out there himself.
And this is one of those moments where he hesitates, and he says, "It has been an age since I walked within the halls of that dwarven city. But yes, many, many, many years ago. Not since it has fallen, of course. And since the fall of the Regian. It is not for us to return. There's a place for dwarves to return to. I know, I've heard that you have friends, acquaintances amongst the dwarves themselves, but this is their journey, CALVAIN.
They can reclaim it. I know they can.
Perhaps they can. Perhaps they cannot. That is not something for you to know. You might hope it. You might wish it. But if you are truly going to be a scholar, you should understand the difference between what you want to happen and what actually will happen. Knowledge is learned. Knowledge is not foreseen.
Thank you for the wisdom you've passed on.
You are welcome. And we close out of that scene maybe with you stepping back out amongst the bright lights, his lamps, and venturing back towards the halls of Thranduil to continue the time between adventures. And yeah, so go ahead, and that is one of your undertakings. The second undertaking, what did you guys want to do for this one?
I think we decided strengthened fellowship was what we wanted to do for this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we say then that at some point in time in the spring, after the break of the winter of 2966, all of you find yourselves, one way or the other, maybe getting messages of some kind. It could be, in the case of the dwarves, maybe you actually very much get a messenger, an Erebor, specifically looking for the three of you. With Medwin, it's not hard to find you because the message is from Beorn himself. So he just knocks on your door, or he sends a young boy or young girl to go find you and bring him to his halls. And for CALVAIN, maybe it's during the time in which you came back the 10 to Grimhild to check on her wounds, in which you are kind of asked over. And maybe this is when all of you find yourselves once more together in the lands of the Beornings. And this is probably after Medwyn's home is burnt down, and probably after many of your the engagements you've already done, the scenes you've already had. This is spring 2966, so this is fairly late in our fellowship phase. What do you think you guys do to strengthen your fellowship? What do you tell me?
Well, dwarves, we're here, but we're still waiting on Medwyn. Has anyone seen him?
Went where I thought he told us his house was, but it was just... I was glad to hear he was still alive, because there were some just scorch marks on the earth there.
Beorn, sir, have you seen this Medwyn of yours? A friend, maybe?
Are we saying that you're at Bjorn's hall, or are we saying you're just like picking a random
Medwyn
Bjorn
directly? I'm like picking on Medwyn for being involved.
I think I'm in the scene, and I'm just right behind CALVAIN.
Then is totally with CALVAIN. Yes, where's Medwyn? He should be here already.
Right here. I'm Medwyn. We are friends. I lost some hair.
No, Medwyn has long hair. You're not Medwyn.
There was a fire. I lost my home. And I lost my hair with my home. I'm not sure which I grieve more.
I would hope you're home. My word. It's good
It
to
is
see
my
you,
home. I
though.
don't know why I said that, of course. But yes, hey, you have not met my mother. Come inside. We have honey cakes. We have mead. We shall feast.
This
Do
is most
need
excellent.
assistance rebuilding your home?
No. That was months ago.
Agda and I are excellent crafters. We could assist.
No, I live with my mother now. It's all arranged.
You know they make hats that you can put over one's head. Because I'm imagining, like, I'm not sure how long it's been, but it's sort of like tan white that's sort of like happened. Not sure if everything's evened out quite yet.
I don't know if I should. Are you saying I'm ugly now?
No, just it takes. You have to be. I'm not sure
You're
how
handsome for a human, mankind.
I think I've offered mead and honey, and now I'm tempted to
I'd
take
love to
some
meet your
of that
mother.
offer back.
And Edda just knocks on the door.
The weekend fellowship undertaking. Okay. Door opens up, and we see Medwyn's mother, Hildwara. I believe you said her name was
Hildwara. Yep.
Hildwara. She opens her. Is she like an ex-warrior type, or is she just more more of a homely? What do you think?
Homely. She
Okay.
definitely she keeps bees. She's one of the people that keeps bees around, and we always have a nice source of honey to turn into cakes and mead.
Okay.
The hut is a little bit more crowded now that we both live in there. There's an extra bed in there. It's just like a one-room hut. It's not that big. And then there is like a rather nice oven in there that is built into the wall. But yeah, it's like a very frugal, practical place.
Okay, so you're let in, and we'll say your mother is very, very warm to Medwyn's friends. So she might say something along the lines of, I have wanted to meet those that he has journeyed with. I hoped perhaps I would have met you a year ago, but he said that you all were too busy and too insistent on returning to your families, which I suppose I understand. But have you seen what my son has become? Have you seen what he has done to his head? Shameful. Absolutely shameful. Yes.
I was just trying to explain to him that perhaps a hat might be of use.
For now, until he grows it back.
Mother, my friends were telling me just how much they were excited for the twice-baked honey cakes.
Oh yes, they are very good. Yes, and so she'll kind of come over and she'll bring them back. But and she'll set like a big plate on this long table, this like long big table. And say, as I was saying, how is he supposed to attract a mate with a head like this? He looks like he is an old man. Please talk sense into him.
What's
He's essentially lost his identity.
And cannot stop laughing.
Yes, Mr. Elf, he has lost his identity. It was beautiful and flowing and free. The wind would come and we'd see it lift into the air. But now when the wind comes, it does nothing. It breaks around him like a river breaks around stone.
It's a lot colder too, especially with the winter. It was one of the harshest winters I felt.
You call that winter harsh? You are such a soft boy. Oh, my soft boy. And she like kind of pats him on the side or something. Yes.
My winter clothes burned down in the hut.
Oh, you mentioned that you are now making honey cakes?
Yes, they're fantastic. Well, we bake them twice as well.
Well, man that bakes can certainly find a willing partner as long as they are not dry and crumbly, but moist and tasty.
He is learning. He is improving every day. With every batch, he has become better, of course. However, he is very much in my way when it comes to the oven, the kitchen. I have things I need to do, and he is not good with the bees. I don't know if did you tell them the story of what happened to you when you were a child with the bees? Tell them, Medwin.
When I was a child, Mother sent me to collect honey from the hives. And of course, you wear thick furs to protect yourself, especially as a child when you don't really know what you're doing. You try to start a fire nearby as well. There's a recurring theme in my life of fire just not being a good thing, of course. But the smoke, it calms the bees. And I set a hive on fire by accident. I had these thick furs on. I couldn't really move. The furs also caught on fire. So I was on fire and I flailed a bit. The beehive knocked over. It fell into the fire. I burned off all my hair as a child. And that's why Mother is upset that I've done it again. Now it's a pattern or something along those lines.
You burn things down. I don't want my home burned down. I have spent time to make this my home. And now you are here. I told you I will help you make another. Everyone around here will help you make another. We built this fancy oven
so that we could not catch things on fire in here. You are very safe. This home will not burn down, Mother.
I know I will not set things on fire. I have never set a home on fire, but you have set two now.
But the beehive doesn't count as a home. We don't live in that.
They are part of our family. They are part of our home. Yes. Home is not just the walls around which you sleep. Home is what you cherish and what you take care of. And we take care of the hives, where some of us take care of the hives.
Well, it was only part of the home then. It wasn't the entire home.
Yes, but so part is more than most people burn down. Have any of you ever burnt down part of or your entire home before?
No.
No, never.
Can't say I have. Can't say I have.
You know,
CALVAIN has. CALVAIN has. He told me about it as we were traveling.
With
Mr. Elf?
Medwin, you really believe I burn a hearthstone?
I must have been mistaken.
It must have been one of your dreams. Anyways, maybe we should all assist with building you a new home. I'm sure your mother would appreciate some privacy.
It would be.
She likes
would
having
be a. It's not that I don't like having you around, Medwin. It's just perhaps I don't want to have you around all the time. It's hard to entertain
it's not all
when
the
you
time.
are here.
I travel sometimes. It's been a while since I've traveled,
It
of
is-
course, but
yes.
it was too much to maintain a house as I was constantly coming and going. I mean, remember all the gardening you
did-
had to do while I was gone?
Yes, which you burnt down. Yeah, it was right outside
Oh,
of
the garden
Yes.
went too. How sad.
But it's a lot of work to maintain a home, and I'm just not at the place in my life where that is a priority right now.
Speaking
Do
of
we have
which,
to call you Medwin the Bald now?
Medwin is fine.
Medwin.
I must-
And I, like,
the
whispers.
arsonist.
No, the burning.
Medwin. Oh, that's a good one.
Medwin the
Medwin the
burnt.
twice baked, maybe.
Yes. I have never met anyone who aspires to be like a honey cake.
Speaking
aspired.
of, though, I must say these honey cakes are actually quite good. They need just a little extra honey. She's just like dousing the top of it. It's like a pancake with syrup on it. She just like took a couple bites and then just like pouring the like extra honey on. Compliments to the beekeeper. This honey is quite delicious.
I do think our team building should be rebuilding your house, though. I think that'd
Does-
be hilarious.
Does Medwin want his own house?
No, Medwin has too many things right now, too many priorities that are, more important than maintaining a home. And his mother doesn't mind him being there despite her
Maybe.
protests.
Can you make a casita on her land
That's what I'm
so that
thinking,
you have
yeah.
your own?
I was
Little guest
literally
house?
just thinking
It's
that.
like
We already
Gilly's
said
little
that-
apartment behind her parents' house. That's what we're making for Medwin.
yes.
I did
Yeah.
already say that it was like just 2 huts down. My hut
Okay.
was like right
Fair
next
enough.
door, so
Okay. All right.
How
well,
dare you put your mother's home in danger by setting yours on fire so close to hers? My goodness. Maybe
Maybe we make it out of stone. So
Maybe.
like,
we wouldn't know how to do that. We're dwarves. Eh?
you wouldn't know how to make a house out of stone.
No, I'm saying we would. Like, if anyone
Okay.
would know how to make a house out of stone, it would be dwarves.
Gotcha, I misheard.
so as the chiding continues and the feasting on honey cakes continues, and maybe even some renovations start to unfold on the land. Maybe not rebuilding everything, but maybe like making like, certain planters or improving the infrastructure of some of the
giving her
existing
her own
huts.
bedroom.
We've at least
Maybe-
built a shed for him to put all of his crap
Yeah.
in. So that the house can
Literally,
just,
like a little
My
man
crap all burned
cave.
down.
And so you spend some time together doing this, and so yeah, it's a little bonding. It's been a year since all of you were together at once, but maybe over the course of the next few days, as some of this transpires, you are all beckoned to the Hall of Beorn, to his home once more, a place where we started our first adventure. We're starting the same as well, as you all are brought to his home once more. And again, it's not very far distance from where Medwin and his mother live. But it is a separate farmstead. So it's not like you all live in like a single village. It's more a series of scattered farmsteads, some grouped together, some separated. And remember that there is a kind of this large hedge with a belt of oak trees and thorn hedges that surround his homestead. And that big gate that creaks open as you push through, and all sorts of bee pastures and gardens, and many, many animals, sheep and dogs and horses and such. Many of you have probably brought your ponies and horses with you as well, as you forgot last time. And you are led into the main hall, which is this enormous hall with these long tables. You can see shelves, these wooden shelves on the wall stacked with jars and containers. You can see that his animals roam freely inside and out. You can see some are even have strapped to their backs what looks like almost like a serving tray of some kind. They're kind of moving through this little area. And you see the very, very tall, black-haired Beorn once more in his gruffiness. It might be late in the day or so after the work that you did on Medwin's home. And you can see that Beorn has kind of a dark and tired look on his face. He has grown older by a year, and you can see some gray hairs have started to encroach upon him in greater number than they did a year prior. But he looks very tired. And he has in front of him, as you come in and you drink and you eat, he has what looks like some paper or some parchment in front of him, as if much like the type you might take, Sin, like a messenger might take. You can see it's unfurled. There's a broken wax seal and some ribbon. And he looks all at you. Thank you for agreeing to come. Not that you had a choice. And he's peering at Medwin and at his hair. It is not grown back yet.
Well, it started to, but I began shaving it. It was uneven from the burns, and it looked a little patchy.
Don't you think you should invest in a hat? I think it would complete the ensemble with the furs and everything.
A hat? Yes, perhaps with flaps, heavy flaps. Yes.
That would be a good look. We will make you one. My sister and I, we will put our personal stamp on it.
Lord Beorn doesn't need to talk about fashion. He's got more important things right now.
I have told you, do not call me Lord.
Sorry, Chief.
Do not call me Chief. My name is Beorn.
Yes,
we are here to listen to you, Bjorn.
He calls me sir. I have called you all here because of this. And he kind of gestures to the parchment in front of him. We, all of us here, owe a debt, and the debt has been called in. He passes it along so that each of you can kind of take a look at it if you care to read it. Certain Western common human speech, and it is written from your friend EDDA, England, and you can tell that. You can tell because there's a large kind of signature and a symbol for him at the end. And what it seems to describe is a few things. And as maybe one or two of you are reading, Beorn is sort of summarizing. Chieftain Ingom of the Woodman town he has died. The illness that has been plaguing him has taken him. I knew him. He was a good man. He was strong, but he was good. Good back, good heart. His son, Ingrid, has been elevated to. He kind of looks at Medwin with a dirty look. Chieftain. Yeah. They call him Chieftain now. And he has called upon me, and I call upon you to return a favor that he has done for us. A year ago, he returned Grimhild to us in good condition, safe, traveled many days, many miles outside of his way to ensure that she returned because you all went on your treasure hunt into the mountains, the Black Pit. Well, now he needs you and his assistance. And some of you are reading this, some of you are hearing this. But basically, Beorn says, many of the The woodman's hunters have gone missing. The southern Mirkwood, bad place, dark place. And England has sent scouts, and they have not returned either. His hunters, his axe folk, and now those who search for the missing have gone missing themselves. And if you read this carefully, it seems that England is not sure. Chieftain England is not sure who to turn to and who to trust. It seems there is some... Like, he struggles for the word, and then he... politicking amongst those who perhaps did not care to see England elevated to his father's seat. And he needs those that he can trust to help him get to the bottom of what has befallen his people, and to see what is going on in the south of Mirkwood. Normally I would not be so quick to involve myself in the squabbles of woodmen, but I am curious to know what happens in that place. The darkness is growing again, and it seems like a task that you all might be capable of performing, eh?
Of course, Chief, we'd be happy to take on this task. It's a great honor that you've asked us to perform it.
He like smashes this giant fish down. Not Chief, Beorn, and I did not ask. You are called upon to return a favor, because you could not return Grimhild yourself. He returned her for us. We owe him now, eh?
Of course, I told him as much when it happened, that if he called upon me, I would be there. And if you call upon me, I will be there as well. I'm happy to do it, sir.
You, dwarves. Yeah.
He is my friend. I am glad to help.
Good. And Elf, you know Mirkwood better than this. It is not near your realm, but it is the same forest.
If I don't investigate this blight, it could pass on over.
I am sure your king would be interested as well. To know what creeps along in the shadows south of his realm.
He would want to know, yes.
Good. Well then, it is settled. And he kind of like stands up and like kind of smashes like his chest a little bit and like thunders in the room for a minute. You will go. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
And one last thing. Medwin pulls out this like perfectly wrapped package of honey cakes. My mother and I we baked these for you as a thank you for your leadership and generosity and protection, sir.
Yeah. Make a craft test, we'll say, for baking. Want to do that?
I am not good at craft. This is
what do you think it would have been? I mean, craft is what I think it should be.
Craft, absolutely
Yeah,
craft.
definitely craft. This is
but
going
if
to
you
be
had something else,
fun.
yeah.
That is a failure. 10 under
Okay.
14.
He like unwraps them. It's probably like some kind of like beeswax kind of paper, and he pulls one out and he bites into it. It is all right. Needs more honey.
You might find if you got a jar of honey on the side, you just slather it and it goes down a bit easier.
He reaches for like one of his shells and he pulls off like this giant kind of like almost like a mason jar of honey, this like amber colored honey. He pulls it back and he just dunks the whole thing down into the jar and then pulls it back out and just starts licking it. Much better.
You could also whip the honey into some butter. It's really delicious.
Whip honey into
Mix it
butter.
quickly. Yes.
I will think on this. Good suggestion.
Add some cinnamon to that even. It's just delicious.
Okay.
I'm glad you like it, my lord.
Done.
I am not your lord.
Sorry, just a phrase
Oh.
of speech.
We're heading on our way, thank you. And as she's like patting Medwin on the back to get him to stop calling him chieftain and lord.
Okay.
Thank
so
you for
guys,
entrusting this with us. We will, as we did
You
before,
are-
we will be
You are
successful.
indebted as well, so it is not about trust. You are paying off a debt that you have created.
Yes, we did. And if you happen to be wandering about, you might find a little bit of new construction over near where Medwin's hut had been. We've been hard at work today, adding a bit to the.
I
if
heard you
ever
burnt
wander
it down.
in that direction, which is exactly why we all came together. And there's nothing that builds community like a good shed raising, as it were.
Medwin, stay for a moment. The rest of you, good travels.
and he like walks over to you, and he is so much taller than you. You know what I mean? Like he's like, pushing 10 feet. He's huge. He comes over, puts a giant hand on your shoulder. And he looks down at you.
Do not create more debt. The woodmen are fair people, but we are Beorns. We
live free.
We live free. You get it. Yes. So, return the favor, but nothing more, and take nothing back.
As you say, sir.
And
I won't let you down.
if there is something growing in Mirkwood, find out what it is and ensure it does not grow close to our lands.
Yes, we protect our homes.
Yeah. All right. Go.
Again, it's a great honor. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And you hear him just like biting into like the next honey cake, and like the crinkling of the beeswax wrapper. And the five of you move back out of Beorn's hall. You hear the sounds of goats, and we see the sun coming down a bit. Maybe you spend a night back by Medwin and his mother. There's also open time for roleplay before you guys leave, but eventually we'll be journeying here in a second. Is there anything you guys wanted to do before we dive into journey phase?
Don't
I
think
we've
so.
covered everything for Medwin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, before we went into the fellowship phase, did we have fellowship
Yeah.
points to spend before we regenerated it?
I think you
Or
had
is
a
that
couple
only a
left
Yule
over,
thing?
yeah. You can spend fellowship points during rest to regain hope, but only if you get to 0 hope, correct? I believe that's one of the spends for them. That's one of the general spends for fellowship points.
We had spent some because we're down to 3, so we had during a rest spent some.
Yeah. Well,
last
it's going to
time. So
reset.
we did have 3 left.
Yeah, so
Okay.
for the resets, I'd like to take those into hope, if possible.
So you're trying
Okay,
to
did
take the
you-
last 3 before they reset?
Yeah.
I just want to double check because I could have sworn it was, someone can double check me on this. I could have sworn it was like you can't do that unless you're at 0 hope, or does it regen? I can't remember. God dang it.
I'm looking, but I don't
Yeah, I
remember
was
what
sworn
section
to
it's in.
clarify that.
Yeah, I think it's because I remember 2 things. I remember one of it's like when you get to 0 hope or something like that, you might regain some during rest. Yeah, so you can spend fellowship points while resting to regain additional hope. 1 point of hope regained for each fellowship point spent. So yeah, you can just spend it then. It had nothing to do with 0. The thing I was thinking of, if you get to 0 during a prolonged rest, you can kick back up to a hope. You can recover 1 hope.
Okay.
So
So if no one wants any of that, I'm down to take all 3.
How far down are you, Long?
I'm at 3 hope.
Oh,
I say
Have
long
at
get
it.
them.
yeah. No, makes sense.
Thank you.
Yep.
okay.
And then it'll reset up to 5 at the end of the fellowship phase.
Okay. And so yeah, and there was no
Perfect.
additional things that you guys wanted to do here, fellowship phase wise, or anything like that. Or are you guys ready to move back in?
Yeah, I think we covered all of our advancements and everything that we were doing.
Okay. So let's dive back into journey phase. So if you look back at the map that we're using, which is kind of like a conglomeration, one thing I want to point out to you all is that this map that we're using kind of uses some first edition locations. And in first edition, Woodland Hall and Woodman Town, two separate places. I'm merging them into one. So I'm going to go ahead and just so you guys know, just so we know where you're going. I put a little marker for you. So there's no way to like kind of clean off the markings from the first edition map. So I'm just going to put down that. So I'm just kind of like merging them together. So you can kind of see where you're headed. All right. All right, cool. So let's, and one other thing. So you guys have your patron. So Beorn gives you a +1 fellowship bonus. So you can go ahead and reset your fellowship points. So you should be at 6 now between the 5 of you plus him. And then the additional. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Good.
No, go ahead.
I think I was just going to say, because we did strengthen fellowship, I believe that gives us the extra one as well. Excellent.
So you should be up to 7. And then the other thing you get from Beorn, it only affects fellowship phases, is the thing I was mentioning with Medwin. So heroes spending a fellowship phase at his house can reduce their shadow by 1 extra point, but you can never remove more than 3 shadow at once. And additionally, if you choose the meet patron undertaking and you go see Beorn, you can actually receive a rumor from the lore master as well. So those are, and I'll paste that into our chats and stuff so you know exactly what it is. But that's his benefits. So you guys are sitting on 7 fellowship. It's awesome. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, we needed them last time. We got real low on hope.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's dive into getting these mechanics down for the journey, and then we can. Music just went crazy on me. Everything's breaking. Sorry about that. People with ears. Okay.
I set the music on fire, all right? So it's Medwin the Thrice Baked.
We have so many names for Medwin now.
Yeah.
Most of them aren't that kind, I've noticed. The ones I've made tend to be nicer. But
I mean, there's burned. You gave yourself broken. You've earned.
I
kind
like
of started
bachelor. Someone said bachelor, and I like that. Oh.
I mean, his mom made it a clear goal of hers.
His mom is very clear that he's never going to be this one.
she's proud of me. She just doesn't know how to say it.
That is clearly it. She likes having you around all the time, despite saying that you should rebuild your home. And she's very proud of you, for sure. Of course, she is.
Banter. It's just banter.
Okay. So let's dive back into journey rolls and stuff. So, how do we want to handle it? Remember, guide. You make the decision. You make decisions concerning routes and rests. Like when you take a rest, when you use supplies, that uses travel. Hunter is about finding food out in the wild. That uses hunting. Lookout is in charge of keeping watch for danger. That's awareness. And then Scout is in charge of setting up camp and opening new trails. So, and that uses explore. So, how do we want to divvy all that up?
I'd love to do travel.
Okay, so you stick in our guide position. I think you should already be set there, probably. Okay, so Sin's our
Upgrading my
guide.
hunting.
Okay, so you want to be a hunter?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if I can move you over. There we
And I
go.
think
Okay,
the sisters were scouts, if I remember correctly.
you can be. Okay.
Not to speak
All
for
right.
you, Ashley.
That's my best option, unfortunately.
Ditto.
Stick me in the lookout.
And so then our elvish hero gets into the lookout position. Excellent. Okay, so that's all set. Next thing you guys need to do is you have to draw your desired route. Like I said, I put the little marker next to where you're going. And again, you would have no troubles knowing specifically where you're going. You might not know like the exact place to go, but you know the general vicinity, and so it's not going to be a difficult place that you have to like kind of discover where you're going. Remember that you should take into account things like river crossings, high mountains and such. So you just kind of figure out where you want to go, and how you want to travel there. In this case, everything's on the east. Like you're starting on the east side of the Anduin and you're staying on the east side. It's just a question of how close do you want to stay towards the river? How close do you want to stay towards the eaves of Mirkwood? Those are some choices that you have to make. So if someone wants to take the drawing tools and make that little draw.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
You took like the widest like
I
band
know.
where it's like we go all of the way.
It was
I
the
like-
default setting.
I like going closer to the river because maybe we might be able to wave hi to our river barge folks as we go by, and then kind of jog to the east to get to our final destination. So I'm
Whoopsie.
just gonna keep talking. There we go.
No. So where you guys are heading is kind of south of where the Gladden River meets the Anduin, but then further east into the edge of the Mirkwood. So you guys are kind of going to the south side of Mirkwood. So this is not like Elvish territory, CALVAIN. You would know that that's more towards the northern side of Mirkwood. This is more where the woodmen have kind of taken up root. Okay. I feel like do you guys having like weird errors and stuff with Foundry today?
I did have one earlier. Yeah, I
Yes.
refreshed and it helped, but it still happens a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm having
My
some
I'm sorry, I
weird
did have-
errors.
looks crazy.
But before we get into the real mechanics, I forgot about something. My twice
man.
baked honey cakes raises company's fellowship rating by 1 point. So we are at 8 total.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, you guys are filled
That's
with fellowship.
amazing.
Crap. We are
Okay.
flush.
That's what honey
All right.
does. You know, it soothes the spirit.
Okay, fantastic. All right, keep talking for a sec while I get my stuff set up on the hex side.
You need to bring Jeff some honey tea. No?
I imagine we say farewell to Medwin's mother and reassure her that we've taken Medwin off her hands and she can feel free to move all of his stuff into the shed while we're gone.
I don't have any stuff. It all burned down.
You've could have made yourself something in the meantime. Must have.
Despite what my mother has said, she is very sad to see me going, and she's very worried about me being on this trip. She just can't admit it.
We will take
You're
good
such a
care
I
of
fan.
her.
have Indian parents too. I get it.
I think we
Okay.
reassure
Calvin?
her that
I was wondering if anyone's taking a mount down. Or is writing one.
Yeah, you guys
Yes.
are welcome to take your mounts.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I do actually have an old horse.
So any of you here not have a mount?
I do not.
Okay. No, you don't need
And
one.
he's the one who remembered to mention it.
Okay. Most of that's going to come into play at the end when you calculate your fatigue. So, and right now it's really just like flavor for the roll. All right. So if there's nothing more that you want to do here in the Beorning area, let's start moving. So I need a travel roll from Sin as you guys begin your trek.
Do I get any bonuses for the pony?
As far as I know,
No,
I'm
that's for
pretty sure
fatigue.
that's just for
I didn't
fatigue
think
at the
so
end.
either.
Right, how'd we do?
Didn't show up for me.
Oh man, that's a terrible roll. You had 3 ones. That was a
Oh man.
that's a fail. That's a fail.
Sorry about that. That was not good.
I'm a
Yeah.
billion dice in trouble.
Okay. All right. So just to refresh our memories when we're traveling like this, that just determines. So what that roll is determining is how many hexes on my side it takes before like an event kind of triggers, and then we're gonna go from there. So it doesn't necessarily mean like you guys are like fundamentally lost or like anything's been failed. It's just about you know, just the frequency with which certain events happen. Okay. So I'm just going to move stuff along on my side so we don't have to worry about moving back and forth. All right. So I'm going to need scouts. Who are the scouts again? I think that's the sisters, right? Okay,
Yes.
so-
This is us.
As we learned last time, one of you is going to make the roll. The other can help.
I will
I believe.
assist you.
Okay. All right. Go ahead there, Agda.
So I'm taking an extra d6.
Mm-hmm.
I think it still costs a point of hope to assist.
It should, yeah. By default.
Am I your focus?
Yeah.
So I get 2.
All
So
right.
should I just not assist then? If I don't want to spend the hope, like just have you roll it? I'll assist
your
this
call.
time, but in the future. Okay.
All right. All right, give it a roll.
It's a candy. Extraordinary success.
God, I hate that word so much. Okay.
Success?
So initial travels is fine. And maybe what slows you down is that you've come across a series of Beorning farmsteads. You see people you recognize, you pass by folks that you know. You come across Gelvira Potster, Analda the Spear Maiden, maybe you even see Grimhild. And often you guys are sort of guilted into stopping and talking, maybe sharing a cup of mead or a meal. And so like it takes a little time for you all to get out of the actual Beorning lands, where it's most densely populated with farmlands. But then the land starts to spread out a bit. The farmland starts to spread out. Occasionally, you might pass by like scouts sent out from at Beorn's insistence to ensure like everyone's lands are protected, that sort of thing. A few days in, so about 2 days into your travel, 2 days south as you're moving alongside the Anduin River, you come across kind of an odd looking display. You see, so we'll say this is Agda and EDDA. The last time you traveled down the Anduin, you were on the western bank, and there was a torrential rainstorm, and you came across this knoll in the ground, atop which there might have been ruins of a watchtower. EDDA had this strange vision of one that quickly faded. This time around, you're on the eastern side, and once more, something has been built along the banks and cloaked a little bit between a series of trees that overhang somewhat the river itself. It's not forested area, so it's just these scattered trees. But you find yourself staring at some kind of shrine, maybe. It's got all these different woven roots and these river stones that have, in some cases, been very intricately intertwined to create some kind of effigy or some kind of symbol, but it looks as though it has been violently torn apart recently, and only a handful of the pieces still seem to be particularly intact. And both of you, EDDA and Agda, you notice that there are all sorts of like footprints that are circling it repeatedly here and there in the mud. And there's something about this that feels kind of strange to you. There's something a little odd about it. When you're looking at the footprints, it's like a mixture of what looks like a boot print, but then also like a paw print at times as well. This mixture of things. So as you kind of approach it and you sort of look at it, like everything, like it almost feels like everything around you just suddenly dims in silence. Like the river suddenly gets a little quieter, the wind gets a little quieter, the birds start to feel like they're a little bit more distant, the chirping itself. And what do you think that the two of you would be saying or doing as you kind of observe this strange little phenomenon on the side of the river?
Sister, this looks like it's been disturbed recently. Should we try to put it back together, see if we can see any of the markings?
I don't know about that. And Edda is just trying to observe it as closely as she can without actually like touching it or messing with it, to see if she can identify like what type of effigy it is.
Mm-hmm. It's been too violently ripped apart to probably make any sort of identification.
Okay.
So while we see like Edda like keeping her distance and looking, we maybe see Agda then trying to like piece it back together.
Mm-hmm.
But Agda, as you do so, like it's very muddy terrain. The bank collapses, and you have a bit of a mishap as you go stumbling down the bank, partially into the water, and you see this thrudge, like this like sudden wash happened as like much of the stones, these river stones, start to tumble down back into the river. You see parts of that the torn root threads themselves fall into the river, and as you kind of go chasing after them as well, like some of your pack becomes undone and little bits and pieces of your items start to fall out, and you watch as some of your rations and some of your basic tools and other things, maybe an apple or two that you had for your pony, just starts washing all the way down the river, and down it will go. Everybody go ahead.
Like a piece in her hand that she was like trying to piece it together, despite her sister telling her that it was, not going to happen. But she's sort of like leaning awkwardly over and kind of loses her footing, and she's really trying to hold on to this thing. And so instead of, grabbing a root quickly like she should have, she's kind of still trying to, kind of salvage this, kind of bit here. And it's like, oh no, I've lost it. Edda, give me a hand.
And Edda will,
So-
but she'll be telling you to drop that garbage that's cursed, clearly.
Drop this stuff, and then you see it float, the rest of it float. And now there's like nothing left of the footprints or the paw prints, nothing left of anything that resembles it. It's just this big muddy mess of debris, and you're missing some things now from your pack. Go ahead and take 2 fatigue, everybody. But because you passed your test, there's no additional fee for that little mishap you had. If you say that I don't take fatigue from journey rules, then you forgot that we said we're not taking that anymore.
No, it's not that I don't take fatigue. It's that when I gain fatigue, I gain 1 less.
Okay, I'll accept that. That's way more reasonable. That's way more reasonable. Even Aragorn got tired. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The honey cakes are very filling, though, and they keep you energized.
Okay.
Until I dropped them in the river, and then I am sad about that. Medwin, I was going to ask you to look at the footprints that were around here, but I think all you can see is that was where I dropped a bit of stone, and that was where my face just went straight down into the mud, and that was where Edda gathered herself to lift me up. So now there is nothing for you to look at. But there were boot and paw prints.
I pull a honey cake out of my back pocket, and I'm chewing on it. You called me over here to tell me there's nothing to look at?
Well, there was something. We were going to use your hunting expertise to perhaps have you look at the footprints. They were disturbed quite recently, so someone with a boot print and a paw print was here not too long ago, and it's just awful what they did to this, though.
Yeah, and what do you want me to do now?
Well, perhaps as we walk, we might see more of the boot and paw print together, and you can keep an eye out for that.
I will keep an eye out for the boot and paw prints I have not seen. Absolutely.
Well, all right. And then Agda probably voluntarily goes down to the river and tries to clean off her face that she face planted in the mud and get herself situated.
Probably shortly after that, you guys are able to maybe find a camp as the night descends, put up a fire, grab some food from some fish or such from the Anduin. You keep lookout for the riverfolk barge, but you do not see anything. Nothing on the river, in fact. Not a single boat. But the fishing is fine. Sin, go ahead and give me another travel test, as we are a couple days in now.
Hopefully I'll do better this time.
I think doing worse is more interesting. So, roll a Sauron.
Jeff is rooting for all the sorries.
You guys have made me into a pro Sauron kind of guy.
By rolling another Gandhi, which is what my trade just did.
Oh, thank you. I was just gonna say it's taking a minute to show up here.
Yep, no, you got a Gandhi.
Amazing.
The next few days of travel, a little bit of rainstorms here and there. No full-on huge thunderstorms. They come quickly, violently, and then they're gone. And you can see they drift off like the remnants of whatever made it over the misty mountains from the west. Kind of drench you briefly, and then you see them begin to dissipate to the east as they the dark clouds venture over Mirkwood. I need the explorers again, the scouts, to roll another explorer test. Do you want to do the inverse this time? Have Edda roll it and maybe act as support?
Yeah, that works for me. I will spend the hope, so take 2.
Okay.
Okay, I am not favored, unlike you. But I will.
Just like I just so casually made the non-optimal choice for you guys, and you guys just rolled with it instead of fighting. So good. Who's got the worst travel? So CALVAIN, you want to be our guide?
Jeff.
Oh no, that's a sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, brutal.
Oh no.
Okay. So you failed.
Oh.
Jeff,
So it's
Jeff put that into existence.
He did.
He manifested it.
I will gladly take that revelation of my powers. Okay. So the next few days, like I said, are fraught with periodic rainstorms. They're quick and they're violent, but they don't last for very long. But what they do is they make the terrain a little bit more muddy. But by the third day, things have dried out a little bit further. You've been finding yourselves maybe traveling a little bit further eastward of the river, because the closer you are to the river itself, the muddier things get. And with the rainstorms coming, especially at night, you wake up to like flooding in these thick mists. And so maybe you find yourselves camping and traveling and having an easier time moving your ponies and horses through a little bit higher ground. But Edda, one morning, maybe midway through, with the mist still not yet burned away by the sun, you hear the sounds of birds. You can't see them anywhere, but you hear the sounds of them. And maybe between some of the little threads of mist, you maybe catch like a blackbird or two, like soaring overhead and then kind of disappearing. And you stumble upon a very, very uncomfortable and odd looking scene. As you find the sisters here, you find these 2 dead wolves that are lying on opposite sides of what looks like this great root that has erupted from beneath the surface of the earth. And you can see that like both wolves are lying with their throats ripped out and blood kind of fanning out from there. And they're like facing each other. It's very hard to sort of deduce exactly what killed them, but they are like on opposite sides of this root that's ruptured up. They're staring at each other. Their eyes are open, tongues lolling out, and no clear evidence of like immediate evidence of signs of tracks or anything that might explain how these 2 have died. I need you, Edda, as you come up here, as you're maybe the first person to see it, unprepared, just kind of stumbling on it. I need you to roll a valor test.
Okay.
Yeah.
Failure 10.
Go ahead and take a point of shadow. As
Okay.
maybe at a certain point, as you're watching and staring at it, you hear the most ill-timed squawk, and you look up and you just see like right on top of where that root has busted out, maybe about 4 feet 4 feet above the earth, so like almost at your eye line, there is this large black bird staring at you and transfixed for a moment. And then Agda like maybe bumps into you from behind, not seeing that you've stopped. And like the two of you stumble a bit, and when you look back, that bird is gone. But the wolves are laid out on the ground beneath you. What do you say? What do you do? How do you react, Edda?
And she's clearly spooked. First with the destroyed effigy, and then stumbling across this. Something's terribly wrong here.
I don't quite understand what we're looking at here. That is, their throats are just ripped out.
Well, not so much ripped as cut, or it seems evil. I don't like it. This isn't hunting.
No, definitely not. Let me.
And they didn't do this to each other.
No, doesn't look like it. Medwin, perhaps you can come and take a look at this and see if there are any prints this time that you might be able to follow along.
Make like a hunting check to
Sure,
try and
yeah.
gather the details of the situation a little bit more.
Absolutely, yeah. Go ahead and roll a hunting test. See what you might gain from this.
That's
Right. And
a mediocre
CALVAIN
roll
and
that-
Sin, you're more than welcome to be part of the scene, by the way. It's not like you're not there. It's just a question of who got there first, that's all.
That's a failure for me.
Thank good it was
Okay.
favored though, because that was a sorry
Yeah, would've
in
been
there.
Sorry.
Yeah, you start approaching these two wolf carcasses, and you can definitely tell that the ground is moist, but so it makes the blood almost look moist, but you can tell from a distance that this is probably not a fresh kill. Like it could be a day, 2 days old, maybe. There's no real signs of any kind of carrion animal having started to scavenge these bodies either, so you don't think it's been here for that long. But you can't find any signs of tracks. And when I say that, you don't find signs of boot prints, you don't find any signs of like wolf prints either. Like their own paw prints don't appear to be in the dirt anywhere. And there are a few places around that, might have been protected somewhat by the rain. And as you're like poking around a little bit, Medwin, there's a sound that those of you in this little clearing start to hear. You just start to hear this. It's almost like something being dragged across grass, or this sort of like a scraping down of bark. You just hear. And when you turn your heads, those of you who are here, you see that root, that tall root that had burst out of the ground between them. As Medwin approaches and he's poking around, you just see it kind of starts to wither and blacken and just fall over in this sort of darkened version of itself, dried out, lifeless.
I told you. Unnatural.
Yes, absolutely unnatural. We should not linger here. I cannot tell what killed these wolves. The rain washed away any sign of tracks. But no matter what, it's a mystery we do not need to solve.
But you saw that root just suddenly turn to black and wither. You saw that with your own eyes, yes?
Yes, I saw that, and that's why I think we should be leaving. I do not want my arm to blacken and wither the same. That whatever curse that is, that's nothing that we can deal with.
CALVAIN, I know your people don't tend to travel this far south. Have you heard of such things? These roots that take the lives of living, breathing beasts?
This ground is cursed. Whatever shadows coming up the Mirkwood, spreading about. Only rumors I've heard.
If I
We
scan their
shouldn't camp
bodies,
nearby.
do we see anything else there? Like anything in their mouths or like anything that doesn't belong?
Yeah, you don't see any signs of anything in their mouths. You don't really see any signs of other wounds. You just see like it almost looks like they both kind of ripped their throats out at the same time. Strangely enough, but somehow were placed on either side of this route. It just doesn't seem to align. Yeah, that's all you would probably be really be able to discern at this point.
Okay. Yeah. I would like to leave.
Yes, absolutely. Why are we still here?
Well, we've got to try to figure these things out. We don't want ourselves to suddenly find ourselves lying in a route with our throats ripped out, do we?
No, of course not. That's why I don't want to be here. This is where that happens.
I wonder if these wolves destroyed that effigy that you found, Agatha.
But remember, sister, there was the boot print there as well. I didn't see. Could have been.
It was about 3 days north of here too.
Hmm.
Maybe whichever was walking with the boot did this here thing.
I don't know.
But I agree, though we've just got to move on and see what else we can see. But yes, CALVAIN, you are right. This is not where we should be camping.
So maybe you guys venture a little bit further southward a bit, let the day continue. Eventually the mist burns away, light comes overhead, find a camp far from this. Just north of Gladden, you realize that you're not that far away from where you actually encountered Arcinius, albeit on the wrong side of the Anduin River. Sin, why don't you give me another travel roll? Let's see what we do. Great success. Okay.
Again, thank goodness for it being favored, because
Yeah,
again,
serious.
Gandhi, or sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you are able to make very good time. Like you find yourselves, the weather suddenly aligns for yourself, for your path. The like there's no rain, no winds. The sun doesn't feel too hot just yet. It's still springtime. You run into no strange encounters of dead carcasses. The fishing is good for a bit before you eventually start veering a little bit eastward. As you know, you've just passed like the Gladden River. You can see as you look out on the water where the Gladden River is flowing down from the Misties and kind of into like where the great Anduin River is. You can see on the other side of that river, you can see Gladden and its strange, gnarled looking trees, its swampland. You know that somewhere in there, the home of Arcinius, the friend that you made last year, who was scouring the swamp for special flora. You know that somewhere it lies beyond, but you are on the wrong side of the river once more. So you start venturing a little bit further eastward. You haven't seen anyone on the river. You haven't come across anyone really. It's been a very solemn, kind of lonely travel, at least since the first few days when you were passing by some of those more condensed farmlands. CALVAIN, give me, I think you're the lookout, so give me an awareness test, as this one's going to be you this time.
All right.
Those elvish
during the
eyes
day or
to good
night?
use.
It's 50-50 this. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, it's daytime. It's a 5, so it's nighttime. We'll say this is evening time. You're probably not traveling too much at night, but we'll say it's just about nighttime.
All right. I want to try my magical success by spending hope, because I haven't used it yet. From being
Okay.
Ultra Virtue.
There's a strange feeling you get as you start venturing eastward. You start seeing the scattered trees. You're not quite to the eaves of the Mirkwood yet, but you you do manage to like see that there are these copses that are very much like the trees you would see in Mirkwood that have split free from the eaves and these patches that you're starting to travel across. You guys have also noticed that there have been stretches for reasons hard to explain where it almost feels like you're on road, like overgrown road, and then it suddenly stopped. And then a little while later, you find it again, and then it stopped again. It's like this strange patchwork. It's not a road that any of you historically would know. And it also doesn't seem to have the kind of ancient quality that the dwarf road that you found a year ago on the western side of the Anduin had. This stuff seems more recent, but left to rot, left to not be maintained. And as you guys are pushing on and trying to get further and further eastward, and the night is coming quickly, and maybe it's the proximity to Mirkwood that is like adding to the gloom and the darkness of the day. CALVAIN, you see something ahead, and maybe even instinctively you might even go for a bow as you see this figure looming in the middle of one of these paths, and you hear this strange buzzing that starts to overtake them. And then you also hear like a weeping, like and you realize there's a man standing up ahead, framed by these two gnarled arching trees over which the branches now hang. And that buzzing is still going, CALVAIN, but it is very clearly a man, his back to you. What do you think CALVAIN does?
I'll hold up the hands of the others to not get too close, and I'll slowly move in. Are you all right?
And you see the weeping kind of stops, and then the figure slowly turns around, and you can see hanging strangely like this long beard. And as your eyes are adjusting, CALVAIN, you realize the beard is moving. It's writhing. And you realize that it's a living beard of bees that's just hanging down from this middle-aged man's chin, his jawline. His hair is somewhat covered in them. You can see parts of his upper body and a little bit down his arms, but he's kind of covered in these things. And he looks at you, and he kind of like steps off to the side a little bit, realizing he might be in your way. But doesn't seem to say anything else. But you can definitely hear like this, he seems distraught.
There's a man up ahead. He's moving out of the way for us to cross, but his wails are piercing my ears.
It's the first person we've seen in days. We should find out what is the matter.
Didn't respond when I asked, but you're welcome to try.
Sir, what seems to ail you?
Turns to you. My queen, she's dead. And soon the rest of my bees will be as well.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that, but of all of the travelers to come across here, we've actually got someone who grew up keeping bees that he might be able to help you. We've got Medwin here. I'm sure he could help you out.
Medwin the beekeeper, that's what they call me.
I've not heard of you, but I would be grateful for your assistance.
Of course. I've not seen a hive on someone's face before, but I know the bees like to swarm. Normally that's when they have a queen, though.
No, she has died, and I must find them a new hive. And they are coming with me, and I have been searching and searching all day, but I am running out of time. They will die again. You know, you are a beekeeper. You know this.
Yes.
But no queen, they will not live.
If you get a queen in time, how long has it been?
It has been 3 hours.
Oh, you've got plenty of time then. It takes a couple days at least.
No, it's much less time than that.
We can help look.
Would you?
Of course, we have time. We were about to camp for the night anyways.
Okay. Yes, I would, please, yes, I would be grateful. Everyone, just describe something you do to help him. That's what I'm looking for. You don't have to worry about rolling or about skills. Just describe something that you're doing to help this guy out. He seems very distraught. I'm going to start with Medwin because you are, as we know, Medwin the beekeeper who doesn't keep bees.
I think Medwin would, he would just go for, especially with the light dying, he would try to be quick about it, and he would try to do a couple loops through the trees nearby, looking through the branches, just trying to see if there are any hives nearby that might, be big enough to accommodate more bees or so on.
Okay. CALVAIN, you're the one who came across the man. What do you think you would do to help? If you want to, you don't have to. What do you think you would do?
Yeah, I think these bees, maybe they could find use in the honey or jelly that's available from these hotcakes. Maybe populates the new larva, that if they've got any. Help feed those.
You start giving over pieces of the Medwin family honey cakes. Okay. Any of the dwarves want to help with this? You don't have to, but I'm just curious if you want to.
Yeah, Edda's looking.
Go ahead. No,
Jinx.
you go ahead.
Sin, you're up. Go.
Sin is going to ask Medwin, why do we not just send him to your mother? Doesn't she?
Well, that was about a week's travel is the problem. He wouldn't be able to get there fast enough.
Oh, okay. I don't really know anything about
It's pretty simple. They live in a hive, and you take care of them, and they give you honey. That's about it.
So that much I knew. I didn't really know about this queen stuff.
Yeah, the bees have a queen that lays eggs that hatch into
She,
more
like,
bees.
bigger? Like,
Yes,
can you just
yes.
make another bee a queen?
Well, they hatch. Some of those eggs hatch into other queens, and you have to find them and put them in a different hive sometimes.
Okay. Sin doesn't quite know how to have the conversation and very helpful.
Medwin doesn't quite know how to get out of this conversation.
Okay. Edda, while that awkward conversation is happening, was there anything Edda wanted to do?
Edda's looking for like an existing hive to see if we can combine it.
And what about Agda?
Agda spent the last year working on her hearing, so she kind of steps away to the point that she can no longer hear the buzzing around this man's face, and she is listening for other buzzing.
So while CALVAIN is trying to feed this man's bees some of the honey cakes, while Sin is pestering Medwin with questions about bees, while Medwin's trying to look around, and he's saying things that are making this man kind of look at him strangely, as if, does he actually know about bees? We see the sisters start looking around. Agda, you hear something as you step away eventually. It takes maybe an hour, but you do eventually start hearing some buzzing independent of the road, of the man. And then Edda, you're able to, with your eyes, actually catch sight of what she hears. As you see hanging from a very high branch, there looks to be a beehive. And it's all this stuff is kind of swirling around and such here and there. And you're able to locate another hive. And when you tell this man, he comes over with immense gratitude. Oh, thank you. And he starts climbing up like a bear would, this tree trunk, and kind of climbing up there. Thank
Of
you
course,
so
yeah,
much.
happy to help.
You're welcome. What is your name, sir? Do you live out here?
I am Gerwig. Yes, I live near. Yes.
And you see he's like starting to try as best he can to coax some of the bees now off of his beard. It's getting very dark too. But you can kind of see in maybe a little bit of lantern light that he's trying to kind of coax some of the bees off and slowly doing it. And a little while passes. Maybe you guys set up camp here. And he eventually descends. No bees, on his face any longer, as he seems to have like kind of fed the bees of this hive over to of his own hive to this new hive. And he sits near you and he kind of lets out a grateful, like, thank you. You have saved so many lives today. I'm very grateful. You have saved them. I've raised them for years, and I would not want to see them perish. In the morning,
I
I will.
completely understand. Yes, I've spent my entire life raising bees with my mother.
Good.
Have you heard of the Beornings? Where we live
Yes.
not too far north. We all keep bees. Well, we don't all keep bees, but we keep bees.
Yes.
If you are looking to, rub elbows with fellow apiarists, it's a tough word. But if you'd like to share your beekeeping knowledge, we would be happy to. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm sorry.
Then
No,
absolutely
yes.
is shipping this guy and Madwin's mom. We'll tell him, if you ever find yourself in this town, look for this woman. This is what she looks like. She is delightful. She knows much more about bees than any of us.
I will do that. I don't head northward very often, but if I do, I will. I have duties around Voduseld that need tending, but yes, I would. With the new chieftain, we will need messengers headed north and such. Perhaps I will volunteer to be one. Yes.
How do you feel about the new chieftain?
Inglud, he is a good man with a good heart, but he lacks confidence, and a chieftain without confidence is no chieftain.
Confidence
They
comes with
would-
experience, though. He's new. He'll grow into it.
Yes, I hope you are right, yes. But he is a good man. I hope he grows quickly.
We are
He's
actually
dark in
out
the
here
wood.
doing a favor for him.
Oh, you are friends of
We
England.
We have made his acquaintance and owed him a favor.
Ah, well,
Are you a hunter or a scout alongside beekeeping, or?
oh yes, yes. I don't hunt as much as some of the others, but I keep bees. Yes, not as well as your people, but I keep them. Keep us in drink, and I fish. There are streams and ponds that way.
What do you know of the missing hunters and scouts?
It's a terrible business. There is a darkness in the wood. It is growing darker, and it perhaps is growing even quicker now, with Ingemer gone. Yeah. Many have gone missing. First it was a trickle, and then Inglud sent a large group of woodmen to go looking. And I think only one is returned.
Who was that?
Oh, his name. Let me think on it.
Is definitely
No. Wolfgar. Yes. But you are not far from Vuduseld. It's day and a half that way.
We could speak to him there.
Yes. You could. Yes.
The favor that we were doing for your new chieftain was to try to locate those who had gone missing. We were the latest who had been sent out on this task, so it would seem that having a conversation with this Wolfgar would be most helpful to us.
Well, I have not been in Vuduseld for a few days. I know not what the state of it is. I have been gone a week now. It is very divided. Not everyone agrees, even Ingmar, when he was with us. Not everyone agreed, but now it is even more divided now. The old ones do not like what England's doing. England does not like to be told what to do, and the growing shadow from the south seems to be getting bigger and closer by the day. It is a tough time, but we have faced tougher.
Can't imagine that losing people is helping his esteem in the eyes of the people.
No, there are rumors. There are some who would like to see another. But I am not one. He was son of Ingmar, and he is a good man. If there time, he could become a great chieftain. I just don't know if there is the time.
Who is it that they want to see? Do they have someone in mind?
No, I don't.
Just so we don't step on any
No,
toes
no,
when
no,
we
no.
arrive.
I do not deal in the politics. I am a mere beekeeper and fisherman.
A wise man.
Thank you.
Well, since you've been out here then, have you seen anything out of the ordinary yourself? Maybe any effigies or dead wolves?
Wolves are dead from time to time, yeah. Effigy, no. Strange groups of men, women, sometimes in the eaves. Not the normal travelers. Bandits, maybe. Hard to say. Yeah, they had a foul look to them. But, yeah.
Was it near here, or?
Here, there. Further south, really.
Okay.
Yeah. In the morning, I can point you fastest direction to Vuduseld. Then I must return to my home. Yeah? The least I could do was such a chance meeting.
Yeah,
So we'll say that.
thank you.
Night passes there. So for your first event, you guys all took 2 fatigue. For your second event, you took 2 fatigue. I'm not sure if I mentioned this. For this third one, though, you don't gain any because CALVAIN, did you pass your awareness, correct?
Yeah, it was a great success.
So this was a chance meeting. So the company gains 1 fatigue, but if the tested roll succeeds, no fatigue is gained. So this actually doesn't net you any. So everyone should be at 4 except for Medwin, who should be at 3.
Nice.
And
Nice.
then Sin, just give me a quick travel roll just to see if you get a Sauron. Because otherwise, you guys are close enough to Vuduseld that even a failed roll would get you there. I just want to see if we should be counting.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, you guys are really, really close.
We're good.
Yeah.
Great
Success.
Great success.
So in the morning, Jarvith will travel with you for a little while, but eventually he will depart. He actually points out that these stretches of roads that you've been seeing, they were designed that way intentionally, so that only those who would know where it's at, would be able to travel quickly. But they've long been in disrepair. But by the next day, so you travel a day, and then a day, in the morning of the next day, you eventually arrive. As the the wood begins to grow. You see the forest begins thicker. You're into the eaves now, and you see a hill begin to form in front of you, mist swirling about. You see what looks like a tall longhouse atop the hill, peeking out over this fog, and you can see this path narrowly crisscrossing down that hill on which all these other homes have been built. These other buildings have been built. You see like some kind of like timber gate, timber wall built around it at the base. And you see that there are these guard posts and such that are looking down at the path that approaches the gates, as you all have reached Woodland Hall or Voodooselt. But we will explore that next week, and we'll call it here. All right?
Yay!
All right.
You're like, maybe you'll get to see that later. Little do I know.
Yeah. That's why I didn't say anything. That's why I said like, you probably talked to the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, love
And we
me
saved
a
all the
fellowship
bees.
phase.
Yeah.
Hell
Awesome.
yes.
And
Yeah,
we
it was
did
fun to get
save
back to
all the
that.
bees.
You did. But now
Heroes,
those
we
bees,
are.
what if those bees grow up to be like Hitler or something? Then you'd be like,
Wow.
They were actually two different bee species, and now they're a hybrid that's super aggressive.
oh God, look what you did.
That's how wasps were created.
Created murder hornets?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh shit.
Look what you did.
No.
And the murder hornets, I'm writing this down. Murder hornets destroy Beornings.
Oh no.
And I invited him back
No.
to our bees.
Arby's. You guys got an Arby's up there?
Our
We don't
bees.
have the meats, okay?
Oh,
I
A little beef
know,
and
it's
cheddar.
Right? Beef and cheddars.
Beef and cheddar. Ain't no cheddar in that. It's just liquid goo. Okay.
Nacho.
Anyhow.
Chat says
Mordor
Mordor Hornets. That's pretty
Hornets.
good.
Yeah.
Mordor hornets. It's good. It's good. It's very good. Oh, should I put that down? Mordor
Yeah, write that down.
hornets. I don't know if that. I love that as a title. I'm not. I'm gonna
Is that
save
an
that
EP
for later.
title? I like it.
I don't know if that fits this one, but it might fit a future one. I'm writing it down. Okay.
got a
Okay.
new
Let's do a couple.
quest.
Yeah, we got to do. You guys are gonna go down. You guys want to go down the Mordor next? I hear Mordor is pretty cool this time. And some probably like a
Suddenly-
timeshare.
Giant hornet.
Yeah. Oh, you're stung by a hornet and you all die. All right, let's do some close-up plugs to get on out of here. It's gonna start with My Chair. My Chair, where can we find you on the internet?
My theory plays games on YouTube where I make system agnostic or multi-system tabletop content that centers system placements.
Fantastic. Steven, you've made a game. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's called Huckleberry. It's a Weird West action horror game. Think Hellboy and Tombstone. It is available for pre-order. Right now, go to huckleberryrpg.com/pre-order. Use code Lolly to save $5. And it's coming out soon. We're going to print soon.
Fantastic. Did you see what Three-Eyed Cat said? He's like, come on,
I
why
did
wouldn't the
not.
bees fly Frodo to Mount Doom? So funny. Classic. Okay, and as for us, stream schedule, what do we got next? Monday, we're playing some Legend in the Mist. You can see a few of us on the screen here and that. So come catch us in our new campaign. On Tuesday, we got some Wild Sea. Thursday next week, we should be back to Coriolis. And then next Saturday, we should have some more One Rings. We have a full schedule. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. We're watching this later if you do. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
See ya.